Hey guys, it's Seb from Chords here, and in this video we're going to find out how to make pads in FL Studio with the 3x Ask. Now you don't have to use the 3x Ask, but I'm just using it because it's an FL Studio stock plugin. Everyone has it, so you can easily model my work. Now also make sure to watch until the end, because we're going to talk about how to make the pad on a synthesizer and also how to do it musically correct in a way that it's good for pads. So let's quickly jump into that. Now, as you can see, I already have a snippet prepared over here. It consists of a pad and a piano. I made a dark melody with the pad, also with the piano. And let me just play these two together for you to hear what it sounds like right now. Now my apologies if you hear some crackles and stutters. I don't know why it does that right now, but you can still hear it good, so that's okay. Now as you can hear, you hear a dark piano and you hear a dark pad. But for this video let's focus on the pad and let's dive into that, how to make that. Now let me open the pad over here, and I quickly want to open the filter over here so you can hear the pad without any filter being applied. So let's listen to that. So that's the pad without the filter. I'm gonna close it now. Now, the reason why a filter is being applied has to do with the piano. If I don't apply a filter over here and cut it down a little bit, the piano has to swim in all the frequencies that are there. And if you want the piano to stick out, it's good to give it a filter like this, a cut-off filter. So that's the reason why it's there. But let's start at the beginning. How do you make a pad like this? Now, a pad like this basically forms the foundation of your EDM music. It's kind of a basic pad, but also a very useful pad. These type of pads quickly work. They basically always work. They're perfect for chords, they're perfect for melodies, and really good to fill up breaks like that. And of course, you can make it your own, you can chase anything you want. But for this video, let's look at how it's made. As you can see over here, it's made with a 3x Ask. All oscillators have a saw wave. And oscillator 3 is disabled, so ignore that one. So only 1 and 2 are active. And as you can see, they're also both detuned. One in the negative direction, the other in the positive direction. And one has a chorus of 24 and the other has a chorus of 12. This means that they're both an octave apart. So that creates a little bit of a fuller sound. Furthermore, the phase randomness is open. If you don't open it, the sound sounds a bit awkward and it doesn't really sound right. So open it up, because it rips apart voices that are being played. So that sounds better with these detuned type of supersass sounds. Now the next thing we're gonna look at is the envelope section over here. And as you can see, a volume envelope is being applied. That's this one over here. And what I did was I gave the pad a little bit of attack and also quite some release. And this is typically what you want to do for pads, because the attack fades in the sound a little bit and the release fades out the sound a little bit. So when we talk about pads, they usually change a little bit slower. They have a little bit of a slower movement, so that sounds a bit more natural for pads. So that's why you see that over here. And of course, you can change it up a lot if you want. You can add more attack, less attack, more release, less release. That's just totally up to you. But yeah, that's the only thing in terms of envelopes. Now, I also applied a little bit of a pitch elevo over here. And you can basically ignore this. It's not really important for the sake of this video and learning how to make pads. I only gave it a slightly bit of pitch elevo so you get that vibrating effect. Because it's a dark melody, it's nice to have that, so it sounds more exciting. But you can just as well ignore it, it's not really important for this video. Now, what is important though is the filter. We already talked about it a little bit. As you can see, the filter is about halfway. And what it does, it filters out the higher frequencies a little bit. And I do that so that the piano sticks out a little bit. And also, when you use a pad in your break, it sounds a little bit dampened down, and it sounds a little bit more anticipating. So what you can do is you can, for example, automate this knob in your track and slowly move it open so you really create that build up. So it really sounds interesting that way. But that's something you have to figure out for yourself depending on how you want it to sound. But in this case, just play around with the filter setting over here. Close it down a little bit or open it up a little bit depending on your taste. And also play around with the filter type over here, because that changes the way the filter works a little bit. So typically you want to have like a low pass, like the fast low pass or one of these options. And that sounds really good with pads in most cases. So feel free to experiment with that. Now let's continue to the next part. Over here at these functions, you can see here at the echo, delay and fat mode that it's been enabled. Like the fat mode is enabled here with this checkbox. And there are 4 voices, 4 echoes being applied. The feedback is also fully open and the time is fully closed. That means that all these 4 echoes play at the same time. So they all add to the sound, so the sound sounds bigger. Then also pay attention to the pitch, because the pitch slightly detunes all these voices that are being played. So the sound sounds more like, kind of like a supersaw. Now speaking about supersaws, I'm currently writing a short ebook about making a supersaw. It's basically an instruction guide. So within the next few weeks probably I will release it. Stay tuned, it will be put on Amazon. So if you're interested in that, make sure to check my channel, because I will quickly release a video about that also, and then you can get the book and follow the instructions to exactly make a supersaw. But for now, let's continue. Now the synthesizer is routed to mixer track 1 that you can see over here. So by clicking on it, we go to the mixer over here. And as you can see on this side, only 3 effects are being applied. Reverb, an EQ and a wave shaper. So let's quickly look at them. Now starting with the reverb, I'm not gonna explain all these settings, it's not really that relevant. The main thing you have to keep in mind is that for pads, you usually want to have quite a big of a reverb. And the reverb is quite long, it's quite a big size and has quite a big amount. So that really works well for pads, in my opinion. So if you have a different opinion, that's totally fine also. In this case, try to use a kind of a big reverb and find out if that works for you. Now the other thing is an equalizer over here. Now this is also not really that complicated. Like some lows are cut out, some highs are cut out, and also some highs are emphasized over here. You don't really have to do it this way, it just depends how you want it to sound. I usually like it to sound a little bit more balanced frequency wise, that's why I do it. And also it depends on the context of your song, how you want to EQ it. So I just do this in a very basic manner, and you can play around it a lot to change the shape of your pad. Now the last effect is a wave shaper over here. It really doesn't do much, you can as well as ignore this. The only thing it does is adds a little bit of volume, but only slightly, and it limits the signal. So it doesn't really do much, you can well as ignore this. Now as far as the pad goes, this is how you make the pad. This is how you can make the pad also. And it forms a very basic foundation how you can make a pad sound like that. But if you want to make it your own a little bit more, you can experiment with all the settings we just explored, but you can also add different mixer effects. For example, you can add a flanger, you can add a chorus, you can add a phaser, all that kind of stuff just to change up your pad sound. You can also automate the filter options. There's so many things you can do to make it your own. Hell, you can even add a bit crusher on it just for the sake of it. It just depends on what you want and how you want it to sound. Still, it forms a great foundation for your pads in EDM music. Now, once you have a pad, of course, you also need to have a melodic structure with it for it to sound like a pad. So how do we do that? Let's quickly take a look at it. By clicking on it over here, we can look at the piano roll. And this is the pad. These are the notes of the pad. Now, and the main thing I want you to focus on is like the length of the notes. As you can see, they're long notes because a pad usually is slow. There's a slow build-up and a slow chord progression. This way a pad sounds very nice and very calm and very paddy, string-like. And the other thing you may want to experiment with is like building chords over here. As you can see, multiple notes play at the same time. When you do that, make a chord progression and make long notes, and your pad will really come to life and sound professional. Now, obviously, you don't want to do that all random. You want to pick a scale, use the right notes, build the right chords, and it should fit your melody. And I can quickly tell you a little bit about that. For example, we have a little melody over here. Now, I'm gonna play it as it should be, so this is how it should be. And let me quickly play that for you. So that's the melody, but for this video I quickly want to lower the melody with a few octaves, like this. I just put them 2 octaves down, so we can actually see how the melody fits the string. Let me show you that exactly over here. Now when you look at the gray notes, that is the pad, and the green notes is the melody with the piano. And as you can see, the green notes really follow the notes of the pad. That's typically what you want. That makes sure that they play in harmony basically. Now, and the way you do that is actually really simple. So it depends first if you make your pad first, if you make your melody first. But once you have one of these, you want to match the first note of the melody at each chord change. Maybe that sounds a bit confusing, but let me explain that. Now, as you can see, this is one chord playing for this long, and over here it changes. Over here it also changes. Over here it also changes. So at each change you want to fit the melody on top of that. So as you can see here, it plays an A sharp, and as you can see in the chord, it also plays an A sharp. So one of these notes we can use for the first note of the melody. As you can see over here, that's true, that works. Now when you look at over here, at this spot, the chord changes, you can see it. The notes go to a different note, and as you can see, the note of the melody is again part of the chords over here. So either this note, or this note we can use, and there we have it, it's this note. The same goes for this one. Here the chord changes, and the melody plays this note. It starts with this note and it builds from there. So this is another chord change, and what you see is the note is on top of it. Here again, here again, here again, and here also. And that's basically how you fit the melody with your pad, or how you fit your pad with your melody, it depends which you have first, by simply respecting the melodic flow of one of these two. And when you do that, it quite quickly melts together really easily, and you immediately have something that sounds really professional, basically in no time. Now, if you want to learn more about chords, if you want to learn more about making melodies, you can now pick up your copy of the Ultimate Melody Guide. It's a guide I've specifically written to explain all these strategies I personally use to create these professional melodies really quickly. And if you want to benefit from that, just click the link in the description down below and obtain your copy of the Ultimate Melody Guide. That being said, just to summarize, what you want to do is you want to make a pad sound first, and a good way is to use the foundation of a supersaw. Once you have that, so you make a detuned supersaw, you have some saw waves, you detune it a little bit, you give a little bit of volume envelope, a little bit of a fat mode, give it some effects, reverb, equalizer, that's it. and it sounds really patty, then you want to go to the piano roll, you draw some long notes that are musically correct. Again, get the ultimate melody guide in the description down below if you really want to learn all the details. And if you have that, you have yourself a great pad. You have yourself a great melody, you have yourself a great sound, and it always works. Now obviously you want to make it your own, so that's good also. Just experiment, make it your own, have some fun with that. But this is the foundation of making pads and making melodies. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you like this type of content and you want more of this, also leave a comment down below so I know exactly what you want, what type of videos you like to see. And obviously, if you don't want to miss them, click that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so YouTube sends you a message each time I upload a new video. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye bye.